Good morning and welcome to our Monday morning slot. We're going to be shifting gears today, and it's going to be very obvious as to why. Normally I would come with some kind of a spiritual mental health moment that tries to be uplifting, but after witnessing and feeling all the rising tensions this week, I feel really called to offer a different space for the next 4 weeks. So, if you are somebody who is still wanting to find that kind of spiritual uplifting, and this video is not for you, but you still would like some help finding that, message me and I'll be very happy to continue speaking to you on the side. But for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be moving in a different direction. This is thanks to a correspondence conversation I had, a text message conversation I had with one of my colleagues whose name is Adam Kilner, and his video is in the comments below. Adam is a United Church minister, and he's a man of color. He's a black man, and he has lots of pertinent things to say about helping us to understand how to empathize. The title for the next 4 weeks of this space will be Peace for Peace. Understanding that what we do here and what we share here is only one piece of a larger picture. I asked myself, because Adam asked me the question, where are the signs of hope? Where are the cracks, the doors opening for hope in the midst of all of this anger and this rage that is coming out, that is spilling out? And I asked myself, as a white man in this country, but the grandson of a Holocaust survivor, where does my sense of empathy come from? It comes from understanding that I can at once understand that whatever pain my grandfather and my father subsequently faced in the wake of racism doesn't mean that my suffering is separate from Adam's, but it does mean that right now I'm not the one who's being persecuted. My sense of empathy needs to recognize that right now his voice is more important than mine. There was a time when my grandfather's voice was far more important in the world, particularly in parts of Europe. Right now, in North America, Adam's voice is more important than mine, and my sense of empathy brings me there. So in this space, I'm wanting to create a place for empathy, a place where we can cultivate a sense that when I get in touch with my own suffering, it helps me identify with the suffering of another, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to agree on every last point, but at least we can identify that when a man or a woman or a child cries out in pain because they have been persecuted for decades by a culture that seeks to marginalize them, because that way of thinking is baked into 400 years of understanding, that's what we're trying to get to. And you might say, well, so what's the point of that? How's that going to make a difference? I think about even the connections that we're making on social media and how we can leverage those kinds of things. Social media is causing lots of spikes in our emotions right now. Trevor Noah, go see his video. It's over 15 million views now. Puts his finger on it. It's like we got this immediate look at what it means to be black in North America on the backdrop of COVID. So it's like the perfect storm, and poof, you get what you have, and it feels like it just happened all of a sudden, but it didn't. It's been seething under the surface for a long time. And so my thought is that if a space could be created where we could cultivate empathy, cultivate an understanding of what it means to get into our sense of suffering, so that we could identify with the sense of suffering somewhere else, in our smaller places, in our regional clusters of relationships, our towns, our families, our churches, our other organizations. Because of physical distancing, we can't congregate together, but we can certainly encourage each other to talk in our small circles. That will, one by one, change the opinions of people and change their hearts. Our whole democracy is based on that kind of thinking. Each of us has a responsibility, not just to do the right thing, but to understand the feelings of another so that we can come to an agreement on what the right thing to do is. It's the difference between empathy and sympathy. When I empathize with somebody, I understand how they're feeling and why they're feeling it. And when we can develop a sense of sympathy for each other, it means that my sense of feelings and your sense of feelings come together in a way that is wise, that creates the right kind of behavior. If we have freedom of speech in this country, it comes with an equal responsibility to use it wisely. And without empathy, there can be no compassion. Now that's a really misunderstood word. And I know that we're getting into a lot of wordsmithing, but it's important, so bear with me. Compassion means to be willing to be on the path of struggle with somebody else. And the way I want to struggle in this space is to offer the opportunity for us to hear the sufferings of others without judgment, without sort of saying, no right to feel that way, no right to feel that way, and so on and so forth. And to hear it in a way that doesn't cause us to lash out, but to causes us to grieve. Anger is the flip side of sadness. I'm really saddened by what I see on TV. I've not been riveted to the television or social media like I have this weekend since 9/11. And I have thought more about my grandfather and what he must have suffered in Europe more in the last few days. And I look at the riches that I have here in this country, and I look at my black friends, and I can't help but wonder what it must be like to wake up in a world that is so scary just because they're black. It makes no sense. So in this space, I invite you to go look at Adam's videos. There's another one by my friend Sarah Biggs who brings a different perspective, and I invite you to look at that too. If this video has touched you, please share it. If you have a friend who is suffering and who is angry, please love them. This is a tough time for many of us. And I really hope that we don't look back on this time 3 and 4 months later and wonder why it is that we did not love each other more. Love your police officers, love your politicians. Jesus says to love your enemies. He means try and as best as possible to support the people who are sitting on the fence, who are looking for the right thing to do. This is a messy email or a messy video, but I'm not going to change it. I hope this reaches you, and I hope it finds you well. I have faith in the love of God in this world. Please share. Be blessed. Be a blessing. Amen.